Breaking news today. Medvedev attends a conference in Camden as Putin threatens World War III. In a lecture given at the Camden Opera House on the evening of Saturday, October 21, Russian historian and scholar Sergei Medvedev discussed the origins, course, and possible conclusion of the war started by Vladimir Putin. The evening began on a somber note with a tribute to Charlotte Singleton, a member of the Camden Conference Board who passed away recently. After the presentations were finished, University of Maine professor Jim Warhola moderated, and Camden Conference President Wayne Hobson served as MC. Warhola read to the audience before introducing Medvedev from his most recent book, A War Made in Russia. Russia has yet to conceive of itself outside of the imperial format, and this is a challenging road for everyone. It led to national catastrophe in Germany and Japan. France learned its lesson and was able to overcome its imperial delusion thanks to its humiliating defeat in the colonial war in Algeria. Similarly, Russia needs to lose badly in Ukraine so it can finally get over its imperial ambitions, great power arrogance, and Big Brother complex. To create a nation based on civil, human, and humane principles, it must rid itself of any delusions of brotherhood with anyone else. In his speech, Medvedev praised the fact that the Camden Conference could be held without interference from the federal government in Washington, D.C. Then, he dove right into the meat of his message, detailing the prophecy that came true 2 years ago during a Zoom call to Camden Conference and the criticism of Putin that ultimately forced him to flee Russia. "We are really in the middle of a turbulent period of world history, and it is becoming ever more turbulent," Medvedev said. "The terrible events in the Middle East have added to the already dire situation in Ukraine. These wars are obviously connected. This is just the next act in the tragedy of the world. The war in Ukraine is directly responsible for the atrocities we have witnessed over the past 2 weeks. The world is becoming more and more unstable as a result of these wars," according to Medvedev, who compared their methods and goals to those of territorial conquests in the 19th century. "The future is a complete mystery to us. When will China and Taiwan make up? The future of Turkey and Kurdistan is uncertain." He questioned where Putin would make his next move. "I can't stress this enough. This is not by chance. Putin's fixation on Ukraine isn't a passing fancy. Like Hitler's obsession with the eradication of the Jewish people, Putin's obsession with the independence of Ukraine is extreme. It's not just the resentment the Russian elite feels toward the imperial past, and it's not just their whims. This war, in my opinion, is the culmination of all of Russia's past 500 years of history. There were few ways to have prevented it." He claimed that the events of the past 30 years had created the conditions for future violence, including the end of the war in Somalia, the end of the Rwandan genocide, and the ostensibly peaceful breakup of the Soviet Union. "You could say that this is a delayed effect of the Soviet Union's dissolution." He said, "It's not done yet." According to Medvedev, however, Russia's imperialism, psychological devolution, war designs, and tactics that other imperialist nations, Britain, Japan, Germany, etc., had shed remained and were not hidden. Russian President Putin has been open about his destructive goals for the past 15 years. According to Medvedev, Putin declared the topic of war on the West during a speech he gave at a security conference in Munich in 2007. Thousands of Central Asian migrants are being granted Russian citizenship on a fast track every day as part of Putin's plan to accept 5 million Asian citizens, and Medvedev predicted that the number would rise to more than 5 million by the end of the year due to the benefits of having access to both cheap labor and votes. Russia is re-establishing its Asian foothold and is rapidly adopting an Asian identity. A major cultural shift is occurring, marking the end of Russia's European era. Russia is now abandoning its Western allies. The West is the antagonist. As of right now, Russia is China's junior partner. He said, Iran and North Korea are Russia's best allies right now. "I have to be honest and say that despite spending the better part of the past quarter-century learning about Russian history and Russian society, I had high hopes for my home country. The ways in which Russia has embraced, imagined, normalized, and romanticized this war, he said, astonished him. While Putin's moves were expected, Medvedev said he made the fatal error of assuming Putin's attack would be his final move. Despite sanctions and Western aid to Ukraine, Russia persists, and the United States' response was not as strong as it should have been.